Head forward.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Then our regular agenda, our first order is consider a proclamation declaring the month of September as National Recovery Month. By the way, Denise, do you have my portion? I left my my device at my office.
Oh, you want my packet?
Do I want your packet?
Yeah, you can have my packet, and then,
Well, bring it up.
yeah.
I can give him mine. You don't have it? Sure.
Well, yeah.
You don't know where to whereas. The where from the whereas.
Proclamation. Do you want mine? You sure?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can I start when I'm... Okay. Proclamation for National Recovery Month 2023. Mental and substance use disorders, including co-occurring disorders, affect all communities nationwide. But with commitment and support, people with these disorders can achieve healthy lifestyles and lead rewarding lives in recovery. By seeking help, people who experience mental and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders can embark on a new path towards improved health and overall wellness. The focus of National Recovery Month each September is to celebrate their journey as recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community. Recovery Month spreads the message that treatment is effective and people can and do recover every day. Whereas the impact of mental health and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders are apparent in our local community, and 33,800 estimated people in Harvey County are affected by these conditions. And whereas through Recovery Month, people become more aware and able to recognize the signs of mental and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders, and encourages people in need of treatment and recovery services to seek help. And whereas managing the effects of these conditions helps individuals achieve healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally, and whereas the Recovery Month observance continues to work to improve the lives of those affected by mental and substance use disorders and co-occurring disorders by raising awareness of these disorders and educating communities about the effective treatment and recovery services that are available.
Now therefore, I, Leroy Kane, Mayor of the City of Newton, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 as National Recovery Month in Newton, Kansas, and call upon our community to observe this month with compelling programs and events that support this year's observance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve that proclamation.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
You want to sign and or picture?
There you go. Okay, next item, we're going to consider a proclamation declaring the week of September 17 through 23, 2023 as Constitution Week, and Deb Eves is going to field this one.
Thank you. Proclamation, Constitution Week, September 17th through the 23rd, 2023. Whereas the Constitution of the United States of America, the guardian of our liberties, embodies the principles of limited government in a republic dedicated to rule by law. And whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the framing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention, and whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorable anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations which will commemorate it. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week.
Now therefore, I, Leroy Kane, Mayor of the City of Newton, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17 through 23 as Constitution Week. and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by vigilantly protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Passed and adopted this 12th day of September 2023.
I move we approve that proclamation.
I second that.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it is passed.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to consider a request to close First Street from Meridian to Grandview for the NHS on September 22, 2023 Homecoming Parade. And Denise,
She's running all over.
that's why you work out, so you can hustle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, we have a request from the Newton High School for their homecoming parade, and this is something that they do each year, and they start at Meridian and go to Grandview, over through Grandview and to the athletic park, and they're asking to close First Street for this event starting at 4:45. It's probably done by 5:30 or so. And staff has reviewed this, and they are okay with the request.
I'll make a motion that we approve the street closure.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Next up, we're going to consider a request to close Main Street on October 12, 2023 from 12 noon to 10:30, from 5th Street to 7th Street for Taste of Newton. And Denise is going to field this one too.
Yes, this is an event that has been going on since 1987 when Bethel College took that over, and then the Chamber took that over after that. And this is a closing of Main Street from 5th Street to 7th Street, and then 6th Street from Main Street to the alleys both east and west, and Broadway from Main to the alleys both east and west. And they're asking to close the street at noon and reopen it at 10:30 p.m. And they're also requesting picnic tables and trash containers to be set up along Main Street. And staff has reviewed this and is okay with this request too.
Move for approval.
No, second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And Pam is going to order a perfect day, sort of like today, right? Okay, good. Nice to hear. All right, next we're going to conduct a public hearing for the deannexation of approximately 4 acres of undeveloped property located in the 900 block of North Meridian. Chris?
Yeah, and I can tee that up. This matter comes before you upon a petition for deannexation. I outlined it in the memo what deannexation is. It's the converse of annexation, so it doesn't change ownership property rights. It simply, whereas annexation brings property into the city limits, deannexation does the opposite. There was a petition filed for those 4 acres that are shown in the shaded box on that photo. That's the 900 block of North Meridian. It is undeveloped property. I have a timeline in the memo. Essentially, it was the annexation process began in 2017, and then it was sometime in 2021 where that ordinance was filed with the Register of Deeds. In between those times, the current owners of the property purchased the property. They used the property as a hobby farm, which, as you're well aware, is prohibited by city code. In response to complaints about animals within the city, they've come before you with this petition for deannexation. So it's been noticed up, and the legal notice publication requirements, that's in the packet. You would conduct a public hearing, and part of that public hearing would be any interested party, including the petitioners that would want to talk about why you should grant the deannexation. If you, at the end of the public hearing, decide to grant the deannexation, I will come back with an ordinance that would deannex the property. Should you decline the deannexation, no action would be required other than a vote against deannexation. The tests that you would apply tonight after hearing the testimony and the evidence would be that legal notice by publication has been met. That's in the packet. that no private rights would be injured or endangered, that the public will suffer no loss or inconvenience, and that in justice to the petitioner, the petition should be granted. So that's the test, and it's wide open in terms of anyone can be heard, but I would ask you to open up the public hearing and maybe start with the petitioner and then see if anyone else wants to talk about it.
Okay, let's go ahead and open up the public hearing. And would the Smets like to come forward and share with us?
Good evening.
So as Chris mentioned, the issue at hand is that we run a hobby farm, and we unknowingly purchased the property, when we purchased the property, we were under the understanding it was in the county, and as far as I know, everybody that including law enforcement, also assumed it was in the county, based on all of the data that they would have, including the publicly viewable map on your website. And so we unknowingly did that, and so in 2021, when it was revealed, we did not even know it was part of the city in 21. In fact, we did not know until approximately in May of 23. And so this is where we're at this point. We feel like we leave, Newton a little bit better with our hobby farm. We feel like we get a lot of positive comments. We visited with as many neighbors as we could get a hold of this week, and every one of them spoke positively, or they didn't care whether we do or don't have a hobby farm. But most spoke as though they enjoyed seeing it. In fact, some of them said they sat on their back porch and just watched the antics of our little farm as it is. And does anyone have any questions for us?
We heard from a lot of them.
Yes, we
I
did.
don't know how many
Yes.
emails I got, but it's probably 25.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did a good job.
In favor of or in
Nobody
disapproval of?
against.
Nobody against
Everybody
it.
in favor.
Excellent. Well,
It was all positive.
Very good. Well, we aim to be good citizens. We work with the Humane Society to take on animals that are unadoptable by people that live in the city, ducks, turkeys, small things that are allowed in the county, and that's something that we take pride in. We also help a couple of 4-H students with some projects. Currently, we've donated some eggs, and there's a 4-H student that's incubating them for a school project for her FFA. So we hope to continue those kind of projects.
yes. Shall we sit?
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to share on what your opinion is? Well, then let's going once, going twice? Nobody else? Okay. Then we will close the public hearing, and Chris, can you give us or Denise, I'm sorry, give us a resolution number?
Well, and it will be an ordinance, I think just a motion to approve, if that's the direction you're going, would be a motion to approve the annexation. At the next meeting, I'll come back with a formal ordinance for you to adopt if that's acceptable. To de-annex, correct.
I would move that we go ahead with that.
Second. Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Sorry, that was bad.
That was bad. Gee whiz. All right, next we're going to conduct the public hearing for establishing an RHID for Sand Creek Station 5th Edition, and Rebecca's got this one.
Yes, thank you, Commissioners. So in July, you all set the public hearing date for today, September 12th at 7 p.m. to reconsider that reinvestment housing incentive district for Sand Creek Station 5th Edition. It's on the southeast corner of the golf course. At this time, the developers asked to pause the project as interest rates have kind of made it a little bit less financially possible than it was at the beginning. He consulted with various city staff members and was ensured that this is an appropriate place to pause the project, and it has been noted such. So after speaking with our city attorney, the recommendation is just that we remove the public hearing from this agenda.
We need a motion for that? I'll make a motion that we remove item number 9 from the agenda.
One second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that passes. Next, we're going to consider a resolution of protest against Evergy's proposed rate increase. And you too, Rebecca.
Yeah, I get to be a frequent flyer tonight. So in April of '23, Evergy proposed a rate increase for approximately the entirety of Kansas's districts. You'll see them up here on the map in the Kansas Central Metro, the Missouri Metro, and the Missouri West, which is a large portion of our state. The proposed rates in our area, much of the South Central Kansas, would be over 9% of an increase. It would increase the average monthly user by over $14 a month for that residential user. Some of our higher electrical users, such as commercial and industrial businesses, would have even a larger impact, and that would include ourselves and the school districts. The Kansas Corporation Commission reviewed the proposed rate, and their staff provided a statement that this large of an increase is not justified according to their research. They feel like at the Kansas Corporation Commission, an increase of about 1.66% would be more justified in keeping along with their costs. So what we bring to you today is a resolution of protest saying that this would harm our citizens and our own budgets, as well as we look to try to do more with less.
Do you have a resolution number?
G1320.
I move that we approve Resolution G1230.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Next, we're going to consider an agreement with the Kansas Historic Preservation Office to resurvey the existing downtown historic districts in adjacent areas, C3 Central Business District. Rebecca.
Thank you. So it has been a number of years since our downtown was surveyed in a historic manner. We have 2 downtown historical districts, as you may know. We have the Main Street 1 and Main Street 2. They're divided by the railroad tracks. What we have not had a full survey of is our entire C3 district, and since we are 2 years into being a Main Street community where we took our entire C3 district, this is a good opportunity to look at those properties and those resources to see if they have some historical significance and value that the property owners could utilize for state and federal tax credits. The first step in that process is to do a resurvey of those properties. So staff has prepared and has won a grant. It's usually a 60-40 matching grant as a certified local government. However, we made the request to waive that, and so in your packet you'll notice that the state is giving us the bulk of the funding at $30,000, which was asked for to hire a consultant through an RFP process that will run through the state. And we are matching that with about $12,000 in the form of staff time and account management. So that will fund that door-to-door, business-to-business, as it were, survey of these historical properties. It will account for any changes that have been made since the last survey, which was more than 10 years ago, probably closer to about 15 or 20 years ago. And it will allow for those properties to be properly assessed so that we're not trying to fit historical guidelines to maybe a building that no longer meets those, or maybe a building owner's done a lot of improvements where it would fit and be eligible for those tax credits. So we just want to be able to make it an easier place to work and do business downtown.
Well, I would recommend that we approve this project agreement.
I'll second.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Next item, we're going to receive plans and specifications for the 24th Street Bridge over Sand Creek and set bid date. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners. The bridge on Southwest 24th Street over Sand Creek, which is on the south side of the Sand Creek Station Golf Course, is in need of some rehabilitation. The bridge was originally constructed in 1965, and then when we took over the golf course, we ended up annexing in roadways around it. The county did paving on the roads prior to us annexing, but then the bridge became a part of our bridge inventory. Our bridges are inspected every 2 years, and on our last inspection, there were some issues that surfaced. In 2020, we had staff do some improvements to the deck to try and buy us a few years, and it did that. But now we need to do some more extensive repairs to the bridge deck itself, and it's going to involve both partial and full-depth deck patching, some structural steel painting. In fact, all of the structural steel will need to be painted, all of that is visible to you on the outside, and then replacement of the abutment and expansion joint membranes. The bridge currently has load limits posted on it. After the improvements are made, it will still have load limits, but they will not be as restrictive. Currently, our trash trucks cannot drive across this to the landfill because they are very heavy. The restrictions, the bridge isn't going to fall down, there's no concern for that, but we just don't want to continually drive heavy loads across it. They come in from Cow Palace. So we are recommending that we move forward with this project at this time, and it will buy basically an extension on the life of the bridge for about 15 to 20 years. The total cost of the project, that's including construction, design, inspection, and material testing, is approximately $610,000. If we were going to replace the bridge, it would be several million. So this is definitely a less expensive option for us. And the expectation is if you approve the plans and specifications this evening, we would send out the request for bids in September, and then the bid letting would be scheduled for October 24th. And then bids would be awarded in November, and we would anticipate construction to begin after the first of the year. And then construction to be completed in May. There will be at least a 2-month period when the bridge will be completely closed. We want to go ahead and completely close it because it lessens our costs and it speeds up that construction, because our goal is to get it opened up by the end of May, because we have that big tournament at the golf course next year, and the maintenance facility for the golf course is on the west side of the bridge, while half of the golf course is on the east side. So we would ask that you go ahead and you approve us moving forward with the project by approving the plans and specifications and setting the bid date as presented.
After repairs are made, are the trash trucks going to be able to drive over that bridge?
Once they're emptied, but not when they're full.
Donna, this is part of the existing CIP, so it's in our existing budget. This isn't anything that needs to...
It's in our existing CIP. It is not quite the number that you see here, because when we develop the CIP, it's based on estimated numbers before we go through the design. So it's a little bit higher than what we had anticipated originally, but those projects definitely move as we go.
By how much?
A couple $100,000, because the costs on that were set.
But we bond those usually, and
This project would be bonded.
Right.
And assuming you move forward this evening, then at the next meeting, we would bring a funding resolution to you for approval prior to the bid opening.
Okay.
So do you need a motion to accept the dates listed, or to accept this and to set the dates?
Yes.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept the report from Suzanne and set the dates that are outlined in the letter.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next item, we're going to consider the second addendum to the real estate sales agreement with Standridge Color Corporation. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners, in your packet, and I think I misstated this in the memo, you have the second addendum to the original contract. I did not provide the original contract, and I think that's my bad. I mentioned it incorrectly. But Standridge Color Corporation, that is located at the industrial park, they have been a good company for us here in Newton. And because of the slow recovery following the pandemic, they have requested, they said, you know, it's an unsettled market, and we have been slow to begin the planned expansion, and so they've requested an additional extension. They do still plan to do an expansion to their facility. They're just not ready to move forward yet. This is for 3 lots from the original agreement, and those are 2 that are east of the hedgerow and 1 that is north of their existing facility on the cul-de-sac. And so their ask is for an additional 2 years to be able to move forward. And staff would recommend that you go ahead and approve that.
I would move we approve the second addendum.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Final item, we're going to consider a request for qualifications for Realtor services. Zach?
Yeah, we're just trying to get this on your blessing here on the front end of this. We're hoping to list this property at, it's addressed 000 East First Street. It does not take a physical address yet, but as you can see from the map here, it's just west of Midwest Transformer, where we sold the property to them west of Oliver Road. This is with the blessing with Beth Shelton there at Harvey County Economic Development that we go ahead and try and list this. She's still going to submit for Department of Commerce projects, Greater Wichita Partnership projects, but we just want to market it locally too. We think there's some opportunity regionally to be had here, and we want to give everybody a shot at listing the property. So this is why we're doing the RFQ.
Can we choose who buys, I mean, this is just a question, I'm okay with this, but can we choose who buys the property if somebody comes and wants to buy it and not do anything with it and just let it sit, or obviously wouldn't we want it developed?
A lot of times we'll roll that into the development agreement because we'll usually have reversionary language that if they don't develop, similar to like Stan Ridge, where it'll 2-3 year window. If you haven't developed, come and revisit us. So that way we're just not, like you said, not sitting on it for a decade.
Okay.
So at the moment, we're just seeking those that are qualified.
Right.
Tell us your qualifications, tell us how you're going to support the city.
Correct.
After that, then anything that comes up would then be part of a contract between the city, the potential buyer, and the realtor.
Well, first, if you bless the RFQ, then whoever we select, we would enter into a listing agreement with them, and that's where we'd knock out all those terms,
Right.
regardless of who the buyer is.
So this is just step one, no
This is
cost.
step one. We're just being very out in the open with it and letting everybody have a shot.
Yep.
Fair play.
So we just need to receive that,
Approve it.
Approve it, yeah.
approve it. I make a motion to approve the RFQ Realtor Services memo.
I second that.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that passes. Next up, we have Citizens Forum. Mr. Rich, you're on.
Well, hello. You ran a quick meeting there, sir. I wasn't ready for that. Thanks to staff and my fellow commissioners for everything that you do. And fall is in the air. I can't wait to trade the grill for the crock pot.
Yeah.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have anything tonight.
I just have one announcement. It's very exciting. Our own city clerk made Master Municipal Clerk today after many years of dedication and study and teaching. She has achieved the highest rank a city clerk can achieve.
We shall call you Master Dirksen now.
Do we have to?
Nothing for me.
Good.
Commissioners, I would just remind you that on September 26th, from 4 to 6 o'clock, it's a come-and-go event that KDOT is presenting the improvements to the interchange at I-135 and 36th Street. They're holding this meeting at the Chisholm Trail Mall at their meeting room there on the south end. So come and go. It'd probably take you 15 minutes to walk through. They're going to show the work that's going to be done from 4 to 6 o'clock. Remember, this is a project that was in the T-Works group of projects back in 2014, and this is the last project in the state that had not gotten funded, and they are moving forward with the project. The bridge needs some work done to it. That's over I-135. There will be a new bridge built, and it will be built to accommodate large loads that would be entering the industrial park if they turn and go to the east on 36th Street. But the bulk of the work will be done without having to close the bridge. There will definitely be a period of time when the bridge does have to close, but it will be built off to the side of the existing structure. And they'll be explaining that, unless, of course, they've changed, but that's how it was supposed to work.
I have nothing. just a big thank you to all, and to those who are a part of our staff, the city staff, sewer, water, streets that are watching. We just want you to know how much we appreciate you. Thank you.
I don't have anything.
Well, thank you all. It was not a lengthy meeting, but that's okay. So we are adjourned.
Okay.